July Forward Pinellas board meeting. If you all please stand with me and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This is not only our first meeting of the year, but our first meeting of our new and expanded board. I'm looking forward to serving as your chair this year and seeing all of the good that we can do for Pinellas County together. We'll start with introductions, and we can begin to my left here with our vice chair.
Thank you, and welcome to all the newbies here today. It's great to have you. My name's Dave Eggers with Pinellas County Commissioner.
Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome, everybody. Patty Reed, the City of Pinellas Park.
Hi, Mo Franey. I'm new mayor of City of Dunedin, and very happy to be here. Know some of you, but not all of you, but excited to be on this board.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Tom Shelley from beautiful Bel Air, and I'm so happy to be back on this board again. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Michael Menino, City of Clearwater. Happy New Year. Looking forward to collaborating and working with such a great board. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. My name is Richie Floyd. I'm a council member, District 8, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Happy New Year, everyone. I'm one of those newbies. I'm Deborah Figgs Sanders, council member from the City of St. Petersburg.
Good morning, all. At my age, I love being called a newbie. So I'm Mike Eisner from Tarpon Springs, and I bring a little bit of humor to all of my comments. So welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is David Will. I'm the mayor of Reddington Beach, and I am here to represent the beach communities.
Happy New Year, everyone. Dan Saraki, mayor of the City of Oldsmar and the representative for PSTA.
Happy New Year, everyone. Chris Johnson, Commissioner Chris Johnson, City of Largo.
Hello, everyone. You hear me? Yeah. Brandy Gabbard, City of St. Petersburg, District 2, and I'm a newbie / oldie. I was here for a long time and stepped away for a couple of years and very glad to be back.
Good afternoon. Chris Shear, Pinellas County Commission, District 1. I look forward to serving with all of you this year.
I want to welcome the new members tonight, and I'm Dave Albritton, Vice Mayor, City of Clearwater, and Treasurer for Pinellas.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ford Pinellas Board. I'm your Executive Director, Whit Blanton, and really excited to have this great group of people around the table today and for the rest of this year. We've got a lot to accomplish this year, and we'll get right to it.
Thank you, and I'm Gina Driscoll, City Council member for St. Petersburg, and happy to be here as your chair this year. I also want to recognize and thank the representatives from the Florida Department of Transportation who have joined us here today. Your support and collaboration is always appreciated, so thanks for being here. All right, next we will go to any citizens to be heard. Tina, do we have any citizens who wish to be heard on any items not already on the agenda today?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
All right, thank you. We'll close that segment and go on to our recognitions and announcements. First, we have new and returning board members. I didn't know if you want, I think we've already gone through that. For those of you who are new, this can be complicated at times. It takes maybe a couple meetings to really get the feel for things. Please do not be afraid to ask questions or raise your hand if you need further explanation on any of the items that we cover today or on any of our processes.
Madam Chair, if I'll just add, I do offer the opportunity to meet with every one of the board members prior to the board meeting. Many of you have taken me up on that. Some of you have not, and it's at your discretion. But what we typically do is we go over the agenda together. We talk about contextual issues that we might be addressing in the upcoming months. And I'm happy to make myself available either by phone or in person for those kinds of meetings. Also, I'll mention this maybe a little bit later too, but because of the larger board, we have looked at some ways to streamline our meetings. So you'll probably see fewer information items on the agenda than you may have remembered or got used to in the last few years. And instead, we'll be planning a series of workshops over the course of the year, which will probably be an hour and a half or 2 hours at length. And we'll be doing those generally quarterly. I'm not sure if we'll do all 4, but that'll give us a chance to do a little bit deeper dive into some of the issues that are maybe ongoing, but nearing a point where we'll be bringing them to the board for discussion or action. So that'll be a new feature of the board activities in this coming year. Do you want me to just keep going?
Well, I think.
Oh, sure.
Commissioner Albritton, or Vice Mayor Albritton.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to everybody, the new members here, or anybody that has not gone to the MPOAC, that this is spectacular to understand what an MPO is and the way it works. And they've got one, I think, on January 23rd coming up. And if anybody has a chance to go, I recommend definitely going. I think it's a weekend, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, on January 23rd, it's a one-day meeting. It's the regular meeting of the staff and the governing board of all 27 MPOs in the state of Florida. We do have the Federal Highway Administration there, the Florida Department of Transportation, and it's a great opportunity to talk about issues of statewide significance. What you're referencing is the Weekend Institute, which happens in April and May, typically, and we're waiting on notice for those dates and times. And that is an excellent opportunity to really get a deep dive into the role of an MPO, what it can and can't do, what it's enabled to do by federal law, and what it's enabled to do by state law. And sometimes those things aren't always 100% in agreement, so it's just good to know what the roles and responsibilities are of a metropolitan planning organization. Thank you for that.
All right. Thank you. Next, we'll go to recognition of departing staff members. Sadly, we do have one departing staff member, and so I'll turn things over to Whit to recognize that staffer.
Well, this one stings a little bit, but it's also good news, too, because we're happy for Jared Austin. Jared, I'd like to invite you up, and while Jared's coming up to say a few words to the board, he is a principal planner for our staff. Many of you have seen him in action on the Target Employment and Industrial Land Study that we completed in the last year or so. We hired Jared as an intern from the University of South Florida. He is a local Tampa Bay resident who grew up here, and now he's off to bigger and better things. And I'll let Jared tell the board what you're about to do.
Sure. Well, first of all, to all the newbies, hi, bye. To the more seasoned folks, I won't call you oldies. It's been great to work with all of you, learned a lot from all of you, and very exciting things happening in the Tampa Bay region for sure, and I think you'll really enjoy your time on our board. So I'm actually headed to the Federal Transit Administration. When I started my career here, I was primarily a GIS nerd, but they found a way to hire me by managing the Transportation Improvement Program, and now I'll actually be at the FTA working to actually help certify those TIPs and LRTPs for the states of Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, and Iowa. And I'll actually be located in Kansas City, Missouri. So that's what I'm up to, where I'm headed, and like I said, it was wonderful to work with you all. So thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any? Oh, Jared, stay at the podium for just a minute. I wanted to thank you for your service. I was sad to hear that you'll be moving on, but really excited to learn about what you're moving on to. I think they're so fortunate to have you, and we've been fortunate to have you here. I was just so grateful for all of the work that you did on the TEALS study and really helping St. Petersburg in particular to look at ways that we can modernize our industrial zone land to match what's needed for talent development and business development and economic development for our area today. And that work that you did is really changing our county for the better. That's just one example of all the great things that you've done since you've been here. It's just been a real pleasure serving on the board with you on the staff. And so I wanted you to know, I want the world to know that, how much you're appreciated.
Well, I really appreciate that. And that was an excellent project, and St. Pete has been a wonderful partner on that effort. So thank you.
Thanks. So you'll be at FTA, so I have a feeling I'll be calling you for something else one of these days soon.
He's
So
the
thank
second of
you.
our staff to leave for FTA, and we weren't happy about either of them, but good for FTA, right? When we say that Jared is a rock star, we really mean it, because this guy has traveled the country in a van, and he's cut records. So.
I have, just in my spare time.
Yeah.
All right, Vice Chair Eggers.
Yeah, thank you again for all that you've done. I remember when you started, and just so energetic and so focused and driven to do professional work. And that Teal study was off the charts good. You're working with all of our local partners. I wish that study could have made a bigger impact on our Florida legislators as it relates to industrial lands, obviously. But really good stuff, and I just wish you all the very best in your new endeavors, and don't forget us.
Definitely will not. Thank you so much, Commissioner Eggers. Appreciate that. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you and good luck. All right, we'll move on to our consent agenda. This is, the consent agenda can be found in your packet. Do we have any board members who wish to pull any items from the consent agenda to handle individually? Yes, Vice Chair Eggers.
Yeah, just if we could pull
Could you do your mic, please?
We could pull Agenda 5E, and I just wanted Whit to give us a summary a little bit of that item.
Commissioner, we decided to postpone that item for this month because we received comments late from Pasco County, and we didn't have a chance to incorporate them. The item was for a US 19 transit service plan and a redevelopment strategy in the US 19 corridor. This corridor will extend from the planning level, we might refine it, State Road 52 in Pasco County down to the St. Pete Clearwater National Airport area in our county to look at an express bus service with limited stops. And the station areas for that express bus will be identified as potential areas for transit-oriented development for redevelopment in the US 19 corridor. The City of Clearwater has adopted a land development code that is very consistent with this plan. We know that the Pinellas County Housing and Community Development Department staff is looking at a redevelopment strategy for US 19 North through the unincorporated area of Pinellas County. And Pasco County sends a lot of their workforce to Pinellas County day in and day out. And so it's an opportunity to capture some of that workforce before they get in their automobiles and clog up US 19. But we got those comments late and not in time to incorporate them into the scope of services, so we'll have that on your February agenda. And we can make it an action item, not an action item, well, we can make it an action item with a presentation if you'd like, or we can leave it on the consent.
Yeah, I would like that if you don't mind. And I appreciate that update. I'm glad we've pulled it so that we can do it that way. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, in that case, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
I'm going to need help with that. I didn't catch either one of them.
Motion.
Vice Chair Eggers made the motion. Councilmember Floyd was the second.
I'm responsible for this column right here, so.
That's right, you got to cover them. You're in charge of this side. Okay, great. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have our public hearing items as the Pinellas Planning Council. We'll move into these public hearings, which will be conducted as follows. I will first ask the board members to affirm that they've reviewed the staff report and the materials provided to them. And if needed, the staff is available with their presentation. And all of this information is in your packet. So we've all had the opportunity to review it. This gives you the opportunity to ask any questions or to request that the actual presentation be given. The applicant local governments are also available for questions as needed. And lastly, I'll ask for proponents of the proposal to speak, then opponents, and finally, any other citizens who wish to comment or ask questions on the case. Excuse me. Did we have anyone to speak on public hearing items today, Tina?
No, Madam Chair, we do not have any proponents, opponents, or citizens wishing to be heard on this case.
Okay, thank you. So we have an item today, item 6A1.
Move approval.
So, yeah, if everyone's had an opportunity to review, doesn't have any questions, doesn't want to see the presentation, I'll entertain a motion for approval. We have that. We have a motion from Vice Chair Eggers. We have a second from Commissioner Flowers. Seeing that there's no further requests for discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next is our presentations, and we'll go to Mayor Saraki for the PSTA activities report to start things off.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm excited to be here. I know I have some big shoes to fill with Gina, so I'll get started. Item 1, PSTA update. SEIU Union 3-year contract has been ratified. PSTA Board approved a 3-year labor agreement with PSTA's Florida Public Service Union, SEIU, for 500 frontline employees for bus operators, customer service representatives, and various maintenance positions. The Clearwater Transit Center. PSTA Board approved 2 contracts within the previous approved budget for the Clearwater Transit Center. The first contract was CXS, not to exceed $80,000, contract for the use of a right-of-way. The second contract approved was CDM Smith for design services not to exceed $400,000. The project is in the 60% design phase, complete design phase in spring 2025, and start construction in late summer 2025, and open for operations in late 2026 or early 2027. The Grouper, it's called the Grouper, St. Pete Clearwater Airport on-demand service. 3-year service contracts were approved to launch PSTA's pilot program to provide direct pre-scheduled and on-demand transit service between the St. Petersburg Clearwater Airport and the Clearwater Beach in early spring of 2025. The pilot program will utilize existing PSTA contractors, Transdev, Bay Area Metro, and Spare Labs. The Spare Labs contract was increased by $150,000, and Transdev and Bay Area Metro contracts already included significant amounts, authorized amounts. Total budget for PIE service not to exceed $2.2 million in the adopted FY 2025 budget. Sometime in February, there will be some type of a ribbon cutting or announcement. Connected Community Bus Network. Almost 400 in-person surveys have been completed over the holidays as outreach continues for our every 5-year system redesign. The proposed draft plan is on the PSTA website for public review. The current phase of outreach will continue until February 2025 public hearing. The anticipated PSTA board approval of the final network in March 2025 community outreach continues until October 25 implementation. Events. This Friday at 119 First Street North is the Sunrunner the ribbon cutting for the pier. The pier ribbon cutting is this Friday at 10 a.m. Joint Chairman Triscoll and I will both be there. It's going to be for the St. Pete Pier. Clearwater Beach ferry service starts downtown Clearwater to Clearwater Beach Marina. In the future, it will go to Dunedin once the storm-related dock repairs take place. Maiden voyage is Thursday, January 23rd at 10 a.m. PIE service starts February 25. I already mentioned that, and that's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you so much.
Does anyone have any questions regarding the PSTA report? No? Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mayor Saraki. The next report is on regional activities, and that would be from Whit Blanton.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'll give a quick update, and this is an action item and an information item, both. The Transportation Management Area Leadership Group, it's a mouthful, but that is the federal designation for our urban area because we are over 200,000 population, quite a bit over 200,000. And we meet regularly, the Hillsborough MPO, the Pasco MPO, and Ford Pinellas, the Pinellas MPO, to collaborate regionally, to set priorities regionally, and to coordinate on data and analysis for transportation planning. In addition, we have a larger 8-county region that we collaborate with called the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance. I've explained this to some of you. The TMA Leadership Group is actually a subcommittee of the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance, which has been in state statute since 1993 in some form or another. And there are state funding mechanisms that require that if we want to take advantage of those funding mechanisms for transportation projects, that we develop them as priorities through regional alliances like this SCTPA. I'm going to use the acronym. On December 6th, we had a meeting of the TMA Leadership Group followed by the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance. At the TMA Leadership Group, we adopted regional transportation priorities for the 3-county core of the SCTPA area, and then we adopted regional transportation priorities for the larger 8-county area. This is important because in the state of Florida, some of the funding categories are competitive within the state. So our region has to set priorities just like they do in Miami-Dade and Fort Lauderdale and Orlando and Jacksonville and the Panhandle. And if we don't set priorities, or if those priorities aren't viable or feasible, then we won't get the money. So the West Shore Interchange is a real good example where the region came together, made that a regional priority. In fact, I think Commissioner Eggers made that vote initially. And here we are with funding in place and construction underway on that project. In your agenda packet, you'll see a list of the TMA Leadership Group priorities and the SCTPA priorities. I won't read the entire list, but I will explain that we keep on the list recently accomplished regional priorities, those that have received funding in the latest 5-year FDOT work program, and then the key adoption is the top unfunded priorities for the Tampa Bay region. Notably, I-275 express lanes between 38th Avenue North and I-375 is not yet funded. There is some design work that's being done on that, but it doesn't have funding for construction. Another one that I'll note is the regional rapid transit in the I-275 corridor. That was a project initiated by the Tampa Bay Area Regional Transit Authority, TBARDA, before its demise. That project is still kicking around. It needs a local commitment of operating dollars, which it doesn't yet have, but it is still a viable project. And then the other one I will mention is the regional passenger rail transit connections between Tampa and Orlando. Earlier in 2025, the I-4-oriented metropolitan planning organizations unanimously adopted a resolution calling for investment in passenger rail in the I-4 corridor. Not necessarily Brightline, but it could be Amtrak service. There are 21 states across the country that have an agreement with Amtrak for intercity passenger rail service. Florida is not one of those 21 states. So there is some opportunity. If you've ever driven to Orlando, a different option. Getting to Orlando would certainly be helpful, and you can actually do work rather than stare at a bumper of a car in front of you. This is an action item for the group to endorse the priorities as recommended by the TMA Leadership Group and as adopted by the SCTPA. And then I'll go into my informational items after that, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, questions? No? All right. So at this time...
Do you want to ask for a motion?
Yeah, to approve the regional priorities for 2025?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. We have a motion from Albritton, a second from Eggers to approve. All right. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, for the information item, at the December 6th meeting, the TMA Leadership Group approved a scope of services and a procurement timeline for hiring of a consultant to assist the 3 MPOs with the potential merger of the metropolitan planning organizations in Pasco, Hillsborough, and Pinellas for a regional MPO. This is something that has been underway for quite a few years. Actually, work on this was, you could argue, initiated 30 years ago when we received a letter from the governor saying you need to merge, and unless you can demonstrate reasons why you shouldn't. And for each census after that, we made the case that there are reasons we shouldn't merge because of the differences that we have in population diversity, in employment, in a whole bunch of reasons. The fact that there's a big body of water between us, I'm not sure what all the reasons were. But lately, this has kicked into a little more of a high gear. Efforts were underway thanks to the leadership of former County Commissioner Janet Long, frankly, before the legislature in 2023 passed a law that required that the 3 MPOs prepare a report on the feasibility and the benefits and costs of merging and submit that report by the end of 2023 to the governor and the legislature. We did that. That report identified the feasibility of merging. It outlined some costs and outlined some next steps. We adopted a memorandum of understanding. That's all accomplished. And so for the last year, we've been meeting to talk about what that might look like, what the governance of that board might look like. We've reached some consensus that it should be a 25-member board, that it should be based on population, which is a requirement in federal law, and that the airport in Tampa and the port in Tampa would have seats voting on the board, but they would be staff rather than elected officials, and they would not come out of the population allocation for Hillsborough County because those are regional entities. At least that's the argument. In addition, we've reached some consensus on the role of the public transportation operators. We have Mayor Saraki here representing PSTA on our board, and he's a voting member. For the regional MPO, the consensus appears to be that they will be non-voting advisors, along with the Florida Department of Transportation and any other of our transportation entities around the region. So this scope of services, which I will not read in detail, outlines the work of a management and legal consultant team that would help us address questions of whether this potential MPO would be a hosted agency like we all have now, hosted by an existing local government, or whether it would be an independent agency with its own IT and HR functions and governing board like the Orlando MPO that covers 3 counties. Among other questions, it will address things like a local funding source, staff allocation, staffing roles and responsibilities. And then the legal advisor is really important because, as I mentioned before, we have to adhere to federal rules and requirements, and we also have to adhere to state statutes here in Florida. In terms of the procurement timeline, that infographic is in your packet. This will take about a month or two to get the RFP. It should be out on the street in February. We are going to target its distribution to different groups that specialize in not just regional transportation, but human resources and management of agencies. That will probably take 5 to 6 weeks for proposals to be submitted. The Hillsborough TPO is leading the procurement, but we will have a project management team that includes all 3 MPOs. And then once we get through that process, we expect to negotiate and get underway this summer. We're going to try and expedite that as quickly as possible. We know that the Florida legislature is looking to us for progress on this initiative, and I've been in touch with our senators and several of our state representatives, assuring them that we're making good progress, that we have commitments to move forward, maybe not to actually create the MPO, but we have commitments to let the process play out and discover what we need to learn to enable this to happen. In the best case scenario, it's going to be a couple of years before we're able to stand up an MPO and get it operating. but each step along the way is very important to that process. I'd just like to say that personally, I think one of the benefits from doing this is that we will be able to work together more collaboratively and build trust at a staff level and among elected officials across the region, engage the business community more effectively, and speak with a louder, more consistent voice, and therefore compete nationally with larger communities that are comparable in size to our area, like Denver, like Seattle, like San Diego, like Chicago, places like that. And we would also be able to compete more effectively statewide. There are some costs and some considerations we need to keep in mind, which is not losing sight of our smaller communities, and we have many of those here in Pinellas County, and ensuring that the organizational makeup for this regional MPO respects and treats them with fairness and with equity as we move forward, because we're only going to probably have 8 seats. So structurally, how do you ensure that the voices of the Dunedins and the beach communities and the safety harbors in our county have a voice and have a platform for being engaged in the transportation planning process, let alone how the citizens would engage with that. We certainly wouldn't expect everybody to drive across a bridge to be heard. So those are some things we'll be working out in the next year or two, and you're going to have a front row seat here at this board, and we will keep you posted along the way at every major milestone. But it also is an opportunity for you, if you're interested, to be a part of the TMA leadership group meetings. Every one of you can attend those meetings and see how that process has played out. And we'll be meeting more frequently in 2025, given the gravity of what we're undertaking. So that's my information item. I'll be happy to answer any questions. There is also a PowerPoint presentation here on the Regional Infrastructure Accelerator Project, which is a grant that was awarded to the city of Tampa by the federal government. They are standing that up this year, and it'll be led publicly by the Tampa Bay Partnership. And that is essentially an innovative financing mechanism to look at ways to align transportation with housing, with land use at a regional scale. So it's very complementary to this effort of looking at a regional organization. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Any questions on that? Commissioner Flowers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Whit, for that update. 2 questions. The first is, in those conversations with the TMA, are you all also sharing with our legislators that there would be a request for, or there should be a request for, some financial support that comes from the state, not just for implementation, but long-term planning, and then certainly putting into place the MPO once it's designed? That was the downfall of TBARTA. It was put in place by the state but never funded. And so TBARTA was reliant upon municipal governments in the county to survive. That's number 1. And number 2, I'm sure you will, but can you provide us with the dates of those TMA meetings? So if we are able to attend just to hear, we can get those calendarized.
Absolutely, we will. I believe the next upcoming date is February 21st, and that's in your packet. It'll be at PSTA, right, Chelsea? So PSTA will host that meeting on the 21st. We'll get you the full calendar for the year ahead. We've got some committed dates and some potential dates that we'll make use of if need be. Very good comment and question about the funding that's needed. The feasibility report we submitted to the legislature identified a potential startup cost of $5 million. We don't know where that's coming from, so that would be an initial ask when we're ready. We're not ready for that $5 million. The Florida Department of Transportation has been a great partner in this, and so far they are committing the money that we think we'll need for this management and legal consultant, and that's coming not out of our existing priorities or existing allocations. That's coming separate from the Florida Department of Transportation. As you note, there will need to be an ongoing mechanism to support the regional MPO. Ford Pinellas is supported in part by a very small millage that accrues to the Pinellas Planning Council, and that essentially is our float to cover staff salaries, rent, the intergovernmental charges we have with the county until we're reimbursed by the federal government, because we're reimbursed quarterly. The regional MPO would have the same need. but I doubt our millage in Pinellas will go towards, paying for the salaries of people in Hillsborough and whatnot. So this might need to look at different funding mechanisms. And we're not there yet. We haven't really had that conversation, but that is something we'll want to engage not only the legislature, but our local governments around the region.
Thank you. So currently, Commissioner Eggers and I both serve on the TMA, and I serve on the SETPA as the representative from Forward Pinellas. Those meetings are on the same day, in the same place, so I just stay where I am, so it's pretty easy. I would like to continue serving on the TMA. The SETPA, I enjoy, and like I said, I'm there anyway. But that one, if there is someone else who would like to do it, I'd certainly be happy to give someone else the experience. But we do need a third, don't we, Whit?
We do need a third. So there are 3 members of this body, and we're moving into item 7.
For TMA, to be clear.
We're moving into item 7C now. But yes, there are 3 members of the TMA leadership group, and it's equal between us, Pasco, and Hillsborough. But again, if you form a regional MPO, it won't be equal because it's based on population, how we allocate that. You have Councilmember Floyd.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Floyd.
Well, I'm on the TMA as well.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, for the last meting of last year.
That was an appointment for that meeting?
Yes,
only,
for
right?
that meeting, yeah.
meeting.
So, yeah, and I'd be happy to continue. Yeah, I enjoyed the meeting even though it got really controversial. I think that's what I liked about it.
I was just going to say, knowing you, that's probably what pulled you in.
Mm-hmm.
So did we need to have a motion to confirm the 3 of us for that to represent on TMA and SETPA for this year?
That's right. For item 7C, we'll need to have 3 separate actions here. One is to appoint the members to the TMA leadership group, and then a separate vote to appoint 1 member to the SCTPA, and then a 3rd vote to appoint a primary member and up to 2 alternates for the MPO Advisory Council meetings, because those are in Orlando, and sometimes it's a challenge to commit a full day to get over there and back and have the meeting. So we have alternates for that one.
All right, thank you. So before we get into that, I want to ask Tina if we have any citizens who wish to speak regarding these committee appointments?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
All right, thank you. So we'll close public comment and go back to Councilmember Floyd.
Thank you. I was just going to say really quickly, I was going to advocate for the MPOAC. The meetings are in Orlando. I previously was on that and enjoyed it immensely. I do like regional and statewide work through this body, but the meetings are on Thursdays, and that is when St. Petersburg City Council meets. So I and my colleagues on City Council are not going to be able to participate, but I just wanted to say I had a good time when I went there previously, so don't be scared to volunteer for it.
Is it worth the I-4 drive?
Yeah, well, we need to experience what our constituents regionally will experience. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner
Yeah.
Eggers.
So if you decide you'd like to consider the MPOAC, I've gone to it before. I've had a hard time getting to it, so the standard's really low. You guys can just jump in and be a success immediately. It's a good group. Obviously, you get out of the weeds and have a lot of discussion for all of our MPOs statewide. So I certainly would, recommend that you consider it anyway. It's a good group and a good way to get a really global perspective on transportation issues that are facing our state. But it has been difficult for me to get there as well for perhaps different reasons. But so I'm very interested in being on the TMA, but probably not so much. And I think to the SPC TA group, I think that makes a lot of sense for somebody that's there from the TMA to just stay there and have the second meeting. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Is there anyone who would like to volunteer to nominate themselves to serve on any of these? Yes, Councilmember Reed. Yeah. Microphone? Yeah. Could you push the button for your microphone? Thanks.
Yeah, for the MPO, I can do that. Nobody else wants to, whatever.
MPOAC, okay. So would you like to make that motion?
I make well, did anybody else? I didn't see anybody before I make a motion that.
May I interrupt? I'm sorry.
Yes.
The MPOAC usually requires that we have 2 alternates. Can we figure those out and take a motion and a second for the rep and the 2 alternates together, if that's possible?
Okay, yeah, so if you can hold that thought, and if anyone would like to volunteer to be an alternate, if you could raise your hand and she could include that in her motion. So we've got 1, we've got 1. Do we have 2? Do we have 2? We've got 2. Sold. Go for it.
All right, I make a motion that we nominate Patty Reed as the Metropolitan Planning Organization MPOAC representative, and we have 2 alternates that are Commissioner Chris Johnson and Mayor Dan Saraki.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second.
Second.
Terrific. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now I will entertain a motion for the TMA, the 3 TMA leadership positions. So, yeah.
Those are the 3 that spoke up.
Mics, please.
Could you turn your mic on? And could you
Many
just
times
name?
that has to, I have to be reminded of that only 3 or 4 times every meeting. so.
Now I'll remember to remind you.
Yeah, so I move that Council Member Floyd, right, and yourself and myself be on the TMA.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. That was from Mayor Freeney. All right, thank you. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I'd like to just point out that a few years ago, we made a change to the operating procedures of the TMA Leadership Group, that if one of those 3 people can't be there, anyone on this board can be recruited to be there and vote as a member of the TMA. I once had the unfortunate situation of telling Commissioner Long she could not vote when she showed up at that meeting. I never want to go through that again. So we then, after that meeting, made it to where anybody who's there, and if somebody were able to, say, in a car crash and couldn't get to the meeting, then you could vote in that person's stead. So just FYI.
Yeah, and the important part about that is that that group serves as an advisory group, and all of their recommendations come back to each of the MPOs for approval, like we did today, so.
All right, thank you. So anyone can serve as an alternate at any time for that one. And then, did we do SCTBA?
We have not yet.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for someone to nominate someone for SCTPA.
Mike, please.
Mike.
Councilwoman Driscoll be our representative. Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second for SCTPA.
Who was the second?
Me.
Councilmember
you.
Reed. All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, so now we'll go on to our special district performance measures, which is item 7D. That is a presentation that we'll receive from Linda Fisher of Forward Pinellas. Hello.
Hello, good to be here. So we wanted to review with you all a new law that was passed last year that requires each special district to publish annual performance measures. It's found in a part of the statutes called the Uniform Special District Accountability Act. That chapter governs more than 1,900 special districts throughout the state, and they run the gamut from countywide planning organizations like ours to small neighborhood improvement districts to specialized uses like fire departments and libraries. But since these districts are able to either levy taxes or charge fees to the populations they serve, The state wants to make sure that they're run as efficiently as possible and that they have clear goals that they're meeting. So the law requires us to spell out goals and objectives for each major program that we have and provide measurable standards that show how we're meeting those goals. And each year we need to publish that information on our website, looking back at how we did the previous year and forward to what we're going to be doing in the coming year. Now, these performance measures were originally due on October 1st of last year, and we had discussed it briefly with the board at that time. But with our new expanded board, we wanted to bring them back to you and give them a little more emphasis and ask for any input that you might have. So the complete draft of the performance measures is in your packets, but I'm going to present just a quick high-level summary. So the first goal, we have 4 goals that were drawn from the special act that created this agency. And the first goal is to maintain a countywide plan for land use. Historically, that was our original purpose as the Pinellas Planning Council, as a special district. In this plan creates a framework where all of our local governments plan for land use using the same tools. So we use a common set of land use categories, we review amendments in the same way, and we use the same definitions. That's more efficient than having 25 local governments do this 25 different ways. But it's also a broad framework, so it still allows each local government to set its own priorities and maintain its own unique community character. The second goal is to integrate countywide land use and transportation planning. That's the main purpose for this agency as it exists today. So we use the countywide plan, the long-range transportation plan, and our special planning projects to coordinate planning for things like higher density housing and employment centers, and make sure that those locations have robust transportation options, not just cars, but also safe walking, biking, and transit use. We want to incentivize those things where it makes sense, and we also want to make sure that development is either going into areas that have those resources or that it's contributing to creating them. The third goal is to work together with local governments to share and enhance our planning resources. That includes providing hands-on planning assistance to local governments who need it, creating technical resources that any local government can use, like model codes and ordinances, and also providing information and assistance with grant opportunities. And the last goal is tackling major countywide planning issues that are bigger than any one local government. How do we keep good, high-paying jobs in Pinellas County? How do we help our residents find affordable places to live and reliable ways to get to work? And how do we build our communities to be more resilient to hurricanes and long-term sea level rise? These are big, critical issues that affect all of us, and this agency serves as an intergovernmental forum where we can work together to solve those issues. So those are the 4 major goals that we've identified. We would like to ask for your endorsement of the performance measures that are in your agenda packets. But we'd also like to hear your direction. Are these still the most appropriate goals for our agency? And are there other goals you'd like to see highlighted either now or in the future? And that is my presentation. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you so much. Mayor Freeney.
Yeah, I was just curious, when I look at this, I guess, Whit, this may be to you, I'm not sure. So when we look at like post-storm redevelopment and looking to the future, like how much research and work have we done in that realm of like, you know, I'm still not in my home, so I'm living it too, but so when we look at what we're trying to incentivize people to do, how much vision and research and thought process has gone into that, you know, in general, regionally even?
Very timely question. We are currently doing that research. We have a knowledge exchange series, which is one of our periodic research projects that we undertake on housing recovery in post-disaster situations like these hurricanes. And Emma Winnick of our staff in the back, Emma, raise your hand. She's leading that effort, and so we're looking at some best practices and experience from places that have been impacted by storms like we have, even as far back as, say, the Gulf Coast in Mississippi from Katrina, because they have some lessons learned that's now been quite a few years, but also Fort Myers more recently with Ian and some of these other areas. So we're looking at that. We understand there's also some funding that's been provided and made available for residents to elevate their homes, when they've had those substantial letter determinations. And that, has had some pros and cons, some hiccups. For instance, we understand that in the Fort Myers area, they received, I can't remember the exact amount, but it might have been close to $1 billion to provide assistance for residents to elevate their homes after that damage, and they had very few people apply and make use of that. So we want to understand, what are some of the barriers? How can we overcome some of those barriers? What are the lessons learned? And then we do have a pretty large permitting backlog, as you've probably read about. So what are some things we can do to expedite that in the future? So we'll be bringing that to this board in the spring, likely, at least some of the preliminary findings, and then maybe later in the summer some follow-up. But this is being coordinated countywide. We have a housing assistance recovery program that met already once this morning, and they meet regularly. We'll be meeting weekly, ongoing.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Reed?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. Since it was on, I thought that was like an indication that you wanted to speak. So, any other questions or suggestions for to provide any direction for the performance measures? Right. Commissioner Flowers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your presentation. For goal number 4, under the first bullet, coordinating planning for high-wage jobs, it's probably already a thought process in here, but just making sure that the Career Source consortium and board are integrated in the planning, because they're pretty much doing the same thing. So just to piggyback on that, and then maybe to add recruitment for current workforce. Some years ago, there were a few companies where they just needed to retrain their staff in order to bring them up to some of the new technologies that they were going to be utilizing, versus recruiting new employees to keep individuals here in the community. So I didn't know if that was a part of what is embraced here in this bullet, but just to keep those at the forefront. And then the other is, while we do push college, technical trades, are just like the way to go. Clint, somewhere back there. But that's really just the way to go, to make sure that for market saturation, we have the workforce ready and available for those businesses that want to move here. But this was a good presentation. Thank you.
Yes.
Mike Eisner.
Commissioner Eisner,
Yes.
sorry.
That's okay. Is there any plan for temporary housing while there are people displaced right now? Because that's kind of what I am dealing with, and I'm sure there are other locations that are dealing with that, because that's the complaint I get. People don't know where to go.
That is something that the county is working on. What we heard at the meeting this morning is that a certain number of temporary trailers have been authorized, but we don't have a place to put them yet. So we are part of a countywide kind of interdisciplinary group to try to solve these problems.
So is the trailers that you're providing, is that through us? Is that through FEMA? Who is that?
FEMA.
So FEMA has responded to my residents in saying they will not put a trailer on a property that's been flooded. So I don't understand, everybody that's been flooded is the people that need the trailer. So this is like, they need it, but they can't have it. So where do we put it?
That's a significant issue. I can try to follow up with a little more specific information on what's going on with the trailer issue. We only heard about it just initially this morning, that some of those authorizations had been issued, so I will follow up with you with some more information.
Okay, I did want to also add to it and explain to you, the only people that have trailers are the ones that are actually have the funds to go out and buy them on their own. So I have not seen one trailer provided by FEMA in any location around. So I just don't know why there's that break in the action.
That's a good question, and that is something that we're looking into.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or suggestions? All right. Tina, did we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
All right, thank you. In that case, then, I will entertain a motion for the board to endorse these special district performance measures.
Renee Flowers, I move approval.
So that was, okay, she got Dan too. All right, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, our safety performance measures and targets. Also an action item, and that presentation will be given by Chelsea Favreau for Pinellas. Hi.
Hello. So Linda talked about some performance measures where we have a good bit of latitude in the measures that we choose to move forward with. I'm going to talk to you about some measures that we are required to adopt. About 10 years ago, the federal government shifted the planning process a little bit to a performance-based, outcome-driven process. And there are some requirements for measures that we have to track on a regular basis. And these are the ones that we are required to report on annually. These are our safety performance measures. Now, some of these measures, they might seem a little bit broad when I go through them. I will say that when it comes to safety measures and crash data, this is not the only set of measures that we report on. We do report on crash data in a number of ways throughout the year. We constantly monitor it. These are just the 5 that we are required by Federal Highway to address, and so we address these separately. So if you don't see a safety measure that you really like and you'd like to see more of, I promise you we have the data and we can provide that for you. It's just intentionally omitted from this exercise for today. So the 5 that we're required to report on include the number and rate of fatalities, the number and rate of serious injuries, and then the number of non-motorized, that's bicycles and pedestrians, fatalities and serious injuries combined. That's one of the ones where we really like to see serious injuries and fatalities reported separately, but for the purpose of this exercise, they are combined. And we don't just look at 1 year of data when we report on these, we looked at a 5-year rolling average. And that's really to make sure that if there's an outlier year, it doesn't really skew the data in one direction or another. Every year we update with the most recent 5 years of data. Now, every August, the Florida Department of Transportation, they get to set their own targets for these measures. And they decided in August 2024 that all of these measures will have a target of 0 for the state of Florida. As an MPO, this is where we have a little bit of latitude. We are welcome to support the statewide target, or we're also welcome to set targets that are specific for our area and that we believe meet our needs. This MPO has always taken a position of we support 0 as the goal for Pinellas County when it comes to serious injuries and fatalities. But we also set targets that are a little bit more practical that we believe can be met by the programming of the projects that we undertake as the Ford Pinellas Board. So this column up here, the first column that you see, that is the data that is from 2018 to 2022. This is the data that was provided last year at this time. And the numbers in red are the most recently available 5-year rolling average numbers. Now, it says only through 2023, there is a lag in the data, especially when it comes to serious injuries and fatalities. So we wait until all the data has come through and then we report on it. So it is quite delayed. It's only through 2023 at this point, but those are the numbers. And what you can see from this is all of those numbers in the middle column are less than those in the left-hand column. And I will say that's the first time that we've seen this in the last 5 years. So we're definitely moving in a direction that we'd like to see. And then the far right column are the targets that were set in 2024. So we're going to walk through each one of those individually. For the number of fatalities, we did see a decrease, about 3% decrease from the 5-year rolling average to the next one. But you can see that red line, we have not yet met the target for that. I will say that the number of fatalities, this is one we have never met the target that was set. So this is the same target that we set in 2019. But we are encouraged to see that number finally coming down for the first time since we started tracking. In terms of numbers of serious injuries, this is one that we've seen decrease every year since we started tracking, and we are on a continued downward motion with that. The current adopted target is shown there at 657.3. The former target was actually 850 that we finally met it about 2 years ago, and then we set a new target because we had met the prior one. So we're definitely happy to see a continued 5% decrease on this one. The fatality rate tracks very similarly with the fatalities. This is per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, so it is adjusted for traffic in the area. We saw a decrease for the first time, but we still have not met that adopted target. Serious injury rate, again, tracking closely with serious injury, continuing to go down, but we have not yet met the target that was set 2 years ago. That adopted target of 7.9 that used to be over 10. So we've seen some pretty significant decreases over the years. And then our bike and pedestrian serious injuries and fatalities. This is a measure that we actually target that we actually updated last year because we finally met the target that was set back in 2019. So we haven't quite met the new target, but it looks like we're getting pretty close to that with a 2.2% decrease. And I will point out the methodology that we use to set these targets that this board asked us to use. We looked at the last 5 years of data, and we looked at the absolute highest number for the last 5 years and the lowest number, and we took the percent difference, applied that to the most recent year. It's a bit of a complicated methodology, but we've had a lot of success in helping us get to our targets and setting targets that we believe are achievable as an agency. That's a blank slide. We took a few minutes to look at how we compared with some of our peers. When it comes to the crash fatality rate, we are lower than many of our peers, including Hillsborough, Miami-Dade, Polk, but also we're a little bit lower than the state of Florida as well. And then with serious injuries, we are a little bit higher than some of our peers, but when we compare ourselves to Sarasota or Pasco, we do see that our numbers are quite a bit less. One thing that we have noticed is when it comes to the serious injuries, oftentimes if we're comparing ourselves to a more rural county, our numbers are a little bit better because speeding often results in crashes that result in fatalities and serious injuries. And when you have as many people in Pinellas as we have, it's really hard to go really fast. So all of that traffic does conversely result in crashes that have fewer serious injuries and fatalities. So this is our staff recommendation. The staff recommendation was to retain all of the targets that were set last year because as you can see in that right-hand column, we still have some work to do. And the way that we try to get to the work are through the projects that we put forward on our priority list. The projects that you all vote for to advance help us get to the numbers that you see up here. And each year we report through the 5-year work program how we're doing on making progress towards the targets we set and what projects we believe are helping us to get there. So that is the staff recommendation, restate the goal of 0, but let's keep the proposed targets. I did want to point out that our technical coordinating committee did take action and they recommended that we round those numbers up to a whole number and we refer to them as lives instead of just numbers on a chart. So we wanted to bring that to you all today for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Eisner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What do you attribute to the decline that has happened in those charts? Was there any one thing? Was it a multiple of things? I'm going to ask you a few questions at the same time. Were there a number of things that, do you keep tabs on the number of things that contribute to that?
So there is no one thing, that's for sure. There's definitely a whole plethora of things. One thing I would like to say that's been working is that in 2015, Ford Pinellas stopped prioritizing just major roadway projects, and we started prioritizing projects for all modes of travel. And we really started working closely with the Department of Transportation on working to improve bicycle and pedestrian safety. Now, that started in 2015, but it takes about 5 years for those projects to make their way through the work program. So I'd like to think that we're finally starting to see the results of actions taken by this board to advance projects that are more multimodal in nature and with a stronger emphasis on safety. But any one matter, it hasn't jumped out at us. We do review every single fatal crash report to see if there are any common factors, and it's really all over the place.
Because you do realize as time goes on, the cars are becoming more and more safe. They have their own braking systems, they have their own driving systems. I was just curious if you were monitoring those issues versus, you know, the typical careless driver that's texting and slams into somebody. I don't know if you have like a subcategory to this so that we can know any one thing that would be helping or hurting.
And that's a good point. And unfortunately, the reports that we get from the state don't get down to that level of detail. We can speculate that with serious injuries going down, it may be because the cars are getting safer. But fatalities, 66% of fatal crashes involve a bicyclist or a pedestrian. So no amount of vehicle safety will unfortunately help a crash like that when the bicyclist or the pedestrian is on the receiving end.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I had a question.
All right,
Just
Commissioner Scheer.
real quick, just seems like a lot of your percentages and comparables to other areas are based on this 100 million miles traveled. How do you determine how many miles have been traveled? And is everybody else using the same a method to determine the number of miles traveled?
That's a great question. We do all use the same methodology that's provided by the state of Florida. They annually put out an estimate of the vehicle miles traveled for each county. And that's a very complicated formula that looks at average annual daily travel on all facilities throughout each community. And I don't know the exact math that goes into it, but it's based on the traffic count stations that we have throughout the county.
So the state's providing you with the number of miles traveled?
Correct. And that's one of the reasons that we do this so late in the year, because we do this as a state. All of the MPOs in the state are doing this exercise at the same time to ensure that we use the same methodology and the same sets of data.
All right. Thank you. Mayor Franey?
So, not sure if this is a crazy question or not, but I'm a newbie, so I get to ask crazy questions. So when we talk about multimodal, like, do you look at crashes that are on Pinellas Trail, like where it would be literally a bike to pedestrian kind of thing? Do we look at that?
So we do when we have the information. Our crash system only gets reports when a motor vehicle is involved. State of Florida only requires crash reports when a motor vehicle is involved. Sometimes the local police department will generate an incident report if there is a bicyclist on pedestrian crash, and then we log that and we keep track of it, but they're really rare and it's pretty few and far between.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That is something that our Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee has requested us to dive into a little bit more. So we are looking at some methodologies about how we can better capture that data, especially with electric vehicles and larger vehicles.
I mean, that's just becoming a bigger issue in Dunedin. I'm sure it is everywhere. Right. But we've got such a busy part of the trail. And so, yeah, I mean, lots of Facebook buzz about, you know, the wheelies on Pinellas Trail. So it's a particular concern. Thanks.
We hear it probably almost as much as you do.
Thank you. Sorry, Commissioner Johnson.
No problem. I like the idea of going to lives and whole numbers. I think that's a great way to you know.
Oh, yes, your mic.
Oh, sorry. I do like the idea
If
of
you
going.
can push the button on the right side there.
I did. It's lit up here. Okay. So I do like the idea of going to lives instead of, you know, numbers or fractions of numbers. I think that's a good
Thank you.
way to communicate it.
All right, thank you. Anyways, I'm going to ask a question, and then we'll do round two. Commissioner Eisner?
Surely.
and this is actually similar to a couple of the other questions asked, when you're looking at the comparisons to other areas, and so let's use just the serious injuries chart. Do you look at yours and others to see those who beyond if it was a bicycle involved, things like that, do you look at things like whether, if it's pedestrian involved, was there a sidewalk? I mean, do you get that detailed about it?
Not
to see all of the conditions that may have contributed?
With the fatalities, we do tend to look that closely with it, just because there are so many crashes. There's over 25,000 crashes every year just here in Pinellas County. The fatalities, though, it's closer to 100, 120, so it's a little easier to dive down to that level of detail. And we do compare the conditions to see, if there is a spike in pedestrian crashes in one county over another, is it because of the sidewalk infrastructure? Is it because of, bicycling infrastructure? We do look at those things to try to learn from our partners, and also to provide that context of why it may look different elsewhere compared to here.
Right. And that's the kind of information that can help inform not just you all, but cities as well on whether a crosswalk needs to be put in, or the flashing beacon to go with the crosswalk, things like that. Some really good, helpful information to improve those areas that are just really screaming about, the need for some kind of an improvement.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. You got me thinking. Commissioner Eisner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I need to dovetail off of what Madam Chair said. I know that Tarpon Springs puts out a monthly report of every single accident and how it happened, what happened, but I am not aware, and I'll be the newbie in what Pinellas County does as a sheriff's office. Do they provide you with those statistics to that sort of detail so that you can compile this? Okay.
Yes, so there's, at the back of your packet is a map of all of the fatal crashes that have happened to date. That data, actually, there's a 60-day delay, but you'll see more recent data on there because whenever a fatal crash happens, St. Petersburg Police, Pinellas County, and a couple other law enforcement agencies will provide us with a detailed report as soon as it's available. And then we're able to compile it and track it.
So you'll know whether it's the pedestrian's fault or so do we get that kind of results so we know where we could concentrate on saving the most lives?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And every time a new project comes up, be it a roadway construction or resurfacing or a crossing, the first thing we usually do is we look at that level of detail with the crash data to see if there's any kind of common issues that could be resolved and what kind of treatment would be best to fix the problems that exist at that location.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Menino.
Madam Chair, thank you. So newbie and freebie, and probably only use this the one time. My question is, can you help me better understand the definition of serious injury? Where is that gray area that's serious versus not? And then just to add, totally makes sense on creating the whole numbers and adding lives to it. I'm completely in support of that.
Serious injury is defined as there was a medical transport. So if the person appears injured and they decline medical transport, often it'll be marked as a possible injury. But unless they were actually transported with an ambulance, it's not considered a serious injury. You're welcome.
All right, Vice Chair Eggers.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago, we worked really closely with the schools to try to standardize our school, the zones, so that the same speeds were being used, so that if I was traveling anywhere in the county, I wasn't traveling at some areas at 20 and some areas it's 15, and we had all kinds of things. So consistency is important, and I'm not sure how that how that change actually worked out. But I was thinking about the trail, and I've said this several times now, but the intersections are different. So I've been through some areas in Clearwater where you come up to a stop sign and it says the trail crossings do not stop. Well, if you go up into North County, every intersection is a four-way stop. Well, they're designed to be a four-way stop, although our bicyclists don't do a real good job of stopping. So is there any thought to standardizing that on our county trail?
Absolutely. We've been thinking about that for many, many years. We've come up with plans and recommendations on how to standardize the trail crossings. However, the context of the trail in each community is very unique, and each community has its own ability to do traffic control along the trail in a way that they feel is best. And so often those don't align. We have been working with the cities for the last couple of years in the county to try to bring that conversation back up. We're not getting very far, but we are still working on it, and we do see the value in having some standardization.
Yeah, with 24 cities and an unincorporated area, that makes it tough to have any hope of having consistency, because we all think we do it the right way. So it's just a really big deal, because it really, when you travel throughout this county, it's just different, and it shouldn't be. And I think that there's a better chance of having that consistency work than having people change their patterns of stopping. It just doesn't seem to be that way. Now, maybe others are seeing it differently, but I don't see a lot of people stopping if they're on the trail. I mean, I'm speaking more of the bikes than anything else. So anyway.
I hear you. And there's definitely some new treatments out there that we're aware of and we're looking into to see, you know, if we put this kind of paint down or those kinds of signs, does it have an impact on how people adhere to the traffic control devices? Our active transportation planner, Kyle Simpson, has fantastic ideas. We're just kind of in the midst of trying to see where we can roll them out and see what helps safety the best.
I think continuing to have that conversation is good, and I certainly I'm not trying to oversimplify. There are some intersections, for instance, the Skinner Boulevard and the trail, which you wouldn't talk about that being just a two-way stop. But I mean, most of the smaller intersections is what I'm really referring to, so thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Tina, did we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
All right, thank you. Seeing that we have no further questions or requests for discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the safety performance measures and targets.
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next, item 7F, the camera enforcement of school bus passing infractions. Presentation for that one is from our friends from Pinellas County Schools. Good afternoon.
Madam Chair.
As they are coming up, I'd just like to point out that this is on our agenda because our Citizens Advisory Committee is really focused on safety measures and safety issues, and they requested that we begin having this conversation. So thank you all for being here very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Sarah Wechter. I'm the Assistant School Board Attorney for Pinellas County Schools, and I've got with me Mr. Herbick over here, Mr. Clint Herbick, who will address some topics after I go over the law briefly. As the lawyer, I get the pleasure of going over the law that was recently passed. So with that, I'll jump in. As many of you may know or not know, in the 2023 legislative session, SB 766 was passed and signed into law. That created a new section of Florida Statute 316173. And with that new law, it allows for school districts to contract with or make agreements with vendors or manufacturers, and then in cooperation with local law enforcement, install bus infraction detection systems on our school buses. So essentially, cameras on the bus arms, as we know, the stop arms, when they are extended, they are recording video. So if someone doesn't stop, it would capture that video in the infraction. The law places several requirements and burdens on the school districts and local law enforcement and the vendors, things they have to do to comply with this, but I'll go over briefly, summarize what the law requires. Firstly, As I said before, it requires cooperation with local law enforcement agencies. So each school district has to enter into an interlocal agreement with at least one law enforcement agency that has the authority to issue and enforce traffic laws. And that makes sense, right? Because school districts and school boards, we don't have the authority to enforce traffic laws. That lies solely with law enforcement. Secondarily, on those buses, if we install them, the school district has to put on the back of each bus that has a camera signage that says, you know, camera enforced or stop when lights flashing. And then we also have to put on the back of the school buses a picture, a digital image of a camera so that the people driving by know that that bus has installed on it cameras that are recording the infraction should they happen. And then additionally, before we can do that, the school districts have to do like a 30-day sort of public awareness campaign to let people of the community know that this is going to start happening. And within that 30-day window, law enforcement can issue warnings, but no actual citations, civil citations, until that 30 days has passed. Once operational, within 30 days of an infraction, the video, whether it's held by the district or the vendor, and I think it's usually held by the vendor, has to be turned over to local law enforcement. And importantly, that has the jurisdiction over the site where the infraction occurred to review the alleged infraction to decide if they're going to issue the citation, right? And that also makes sense. So if you have someone who has allegedly failed to stop in St. Pete, you can't have a Clearwater Police Department officer review that one. It has to be based on jurisdiction over where the site happened. So then law enforcement, that kicks it into law enforcement's hands, and they have, I think, 30 days to decide if they're going to issue the penalties, and then from there it goes on to describe the burdens of the person who's receiving the citation if they want to fight it and contest it and all of that stuff. But then essentially, after the citation has resolved itself, the vendor has 90 days to destroy the video and then has to notify the school districts at the end of every year by December 31st that each of these videos has been destroyed and they're no longer maintaining. I think importantly, one of the things the law requires is that these videos, to the extent the technology allows, they cannot gather information that's like identifying the driver, the passengers, the content of the vehicles, anything like that. Nothing personally identifiable can be found in those videos to the extent possible. And then, like I said, that all has to get destroyed at the end of the 90 days past resolution. And so with the legal background kind of covered, I'll kick it over to Mr. Herbick here to go over the district's stance on it.
Thank you, Sarah. And again, my name is Clint Herbick. I'm the Chief Operations Officer with the school district, and one of the departments that I'm responsible for is our transportation department. And one thing that when this law was passed, you know, we've talked to our transportation director and our staff, including myself. We've talked to other districts, you know, about their intention and what they thought of it. And since some of the districts have implemented stop arm cameras, we've continued those conversations. One of the things that we found out is that, kind of like what Chelsea said, Pinellas County is a lot different from some of the counties who have already implemented the stop arm cameras. And one of the things that we found out, you know, even with talking with our bus drivers have not reported to us and do not report, and in the 10 years that I've been on the job that I've had, have not ever reported to me that drivers running the stop arms on a bus is a real problem. And I know that somebody in here could say, well, just one car running one stop arm is a problem. Yes, we agree. We would love to have zero. You know, just like, you know, the goal is to never have anybody hurt in an accident anywhere. But our drivers report that, by and large, the citizens of Pinellas County, they stop when that red stop arm goes off. They stop when those red lights come on. Much more of a concern for our drivers is what our other drivers do to get around buses, to get in front of them, to not get behind them and things like that while the bus is driving down the road. But I think there are two things in place that kind of encourage and help Pinellas County drivers follow the law. And one of them is our set of bus stop rules and the way we route our buses. Probably about 25 years ago, the district put in a series of rules that regulate routing and regulate where bus stops can be located that are very strict, very rigid. In fact, I think Ms. Flowers can remember from her time on the board, about 5 or 6 years ago, we hired MIT to come in and study our routes to find out if there are any efficiencies we can make. And one of their comments was, at the time, that we had very strict routing and bus stop rules, and they suggested that we relax them a little bit to gain more efficiencies. And we said, no, not at the cost of safety. And we stood our ground and not did that. And again, Commissioner Flowers, from her time on the board, can probably remember, I don't know, dozens, maybe hundreds of phone calls from parents begging us to change things, begging us to change routing, begging us to change stops to make it more convenient to them, that we will not do. And when we talk with other districts, and again, this is not a knock on other districts, it's just the reality, they have routes and they have bus stops that put kids in situations, and they put drivers in situations where drivers are confused whether or not they're supposed to stop for the bus. They put them at intersections where a lot of cross-arm or red stop arm crossing happens, and they put them at places like entrances to apartment complexes and condominiums. We don't put our bus stops there. The other thing that we have in Pinellas that really helps and encourages that safety, and I think it kind of helps everybody all the way around, from our drivers on our road to us in each municipality, is the STEPS Committee. And the STEPS Committee is kind of a member of Forward Pinellas. It stands for Student Transportation and Enhanced Pedestrian Safety. It is a committee that meets once a month. It's met for once a month, almost every month. There's been a few months it's taken off. Again, for about 25 years, and it's made up of representatives and staff members from Pinellas County government, from each municipality sitting around this table, from law enforcement, and from the school district. And the thing that we talk about is safety concerns, and when that STEPS committee, from our point of view, safety concerns of how kids get to school, how they get to bus stops, and everything else that pops up along the way. And even Commissioner Eggers talked a little while ago about, consistency with the speed limit through school zones. And I know somebody said earlier, again, about, talking about devices that could be put in place to make roads safer. We talk about that. Do the high-impact flashers, help at school zones? And that committee comes together and decides, here's an area that needs one of these devices. And so it's a lot of people around the table, again, people from each and every municipality that we see here at the table come together. So again, kind of to wrap it up, our position right now is our drivers don't report, and we don't see a real prevalence of our drivers in Pinellas County running our red lights. We have a really strict set of rules regarding our routing and bus stops that really prevent our students from having to cross dangerous roads, and they do not cross them. And we have not relaxed that for 25 years. And then the other thing is this, basically an arm of this group comes together every single month to talk about safety issues. So if drivers start running red light or running that stop arm, and we start hearing those concerns, whether it comes from our drivers, members of the STEPS committee, or even the law enforcement officers on that committee, we will start taking a different look at that. But I think, again, those three things put together really have helped put us in a position, whereas right now, we don't see the need to be implementing the red light cameras.
All right, thank you. Questions? Mayor Will.
How would this be funded if you wanted to do it?
The funding itself, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, comes from the vendor. And
Yeah, we enter an agreement with the private vendor, and they do that, and then they collect a set portion of the fees. They can't get like a commission, or if you get X number of tickets issued, then we get this. It's like a set fee for them, and then The district is responsible for like the signage. Like I said, we had to put the signs on the back of the bus. That would be something that we would have to incur ourselves.
So it sounds like the majority of the money is supplemented by the vendor, and it's not coming out of school board funds?
I believe that's true, and I believe then the majority of the money that's collected through the fines would go to the vendor also.
Yeah.
But didn't want this to be an unfunded mandate type of situation? Or-
I think it starts to, the fees then can be used by the vendor to support the maintenance of it, so then it becomes sort of self-sufficient from what I understand.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Eisner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now we're touching on a very sore subject of mine. I sit on the Pinellas County School Transportation Safety Board. I have been screaming for 3 years about putting lights in dark locations where kids are being struck by vehicles that the vehicle can't see. When I first came on the board, they said that there was no hindrance towards what we will spend to save youngsters. I've yet to get one light. I've had a ton of excuses. We move bus stops. We plant them in cement. We can't move them once they're in cement. I've heard every story under the sun. I sit there at my quarterly meeting and sometimes wonder why I'm there. So that's my first comment. And I apologize for my aggressiveness, but this is a thorn in my side that Mr. Blanton knows. It just burns me up. I don't know why your bus drivers do not report it, but I follow Facebook religiously, and there are parents putting that on daily, that people are running the arm daily. So I don't know if they're just so used to it that they say, it's paperwork that I have to do. I don't know. I don't know the procedure you have. I just know it's being done. I also don't have any idea why we even warn the people that there's a camera there. Every single driving test that you take anywhere in America tells you you cannot pass a school bus. This is just, it's an IQ test. I mean, there are kids there. So I don't understand why and that may be your question, I don't understand why we have to put even a sign there. I don't want to tell them there's a sign there. I want to know that they should know better before they do this. So these are my comments that I wish to make. I've devoted my life to trying to save kids and keep them from being killed or maimed or injured or having anybody having to go and bury a child. There is just so much wrong with the system that I don't even know where to start, but I need somebody to start listening to. People are passing. Everybody's late. Nobody likes to leave 10 minutes early and be there early. They want to see if they could get there with the shortest amount of time to drop their kid off. That's what happens. And if they have to get around the school bus, they do it. So I don't know how your reporting gets done, but what I'm seeing is the opposite. So I would like to see those cameras on there. I know it's no cost. The summonses pay for the violations. I should say the violations pay for all of the summations. I am pushing in my town to have red light cameras everywhere as well. You know, I saw a presentation at Florida League of Cities. They're willing to come in and do it for free. I'm sure they're willing to do it for free. The technology is there to do it on every bus. We should not have anybody passing a school bus for any reason. So that's, and I apologize, but it's something that's in my system, and I have to get it out because it's just, I watch it, I see them do it. So.
Thank you for those comments. I appreciate your passion, and I hope that you all can continue to discuss ways, if not with this method, then with others, to make sure that we maintain that safety throughout the county. So thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Yes, Mayor Saraki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have one quick question. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Department, are they okay with this system? Do you have any news on that?
I would never be so bold as to put words in the mouth of the sheriff or
Okay.
be his spokesperson. But I do believe, from what I understand, the sheriff is on the same page and in alignment with the district's position.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Flowers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll start with that part first. She is correct. I've spoken with Sheriff Bob Gualtieri because I've had conversations with Blue Line Solutions and other organizations that do this type of service. And he stated that based on what happened with the red light cameras, he's not really interested in anything like this. So I can say that because that's what he said to me. And then Mayor Will, just to share, the organizations that do this, like Blue Line Solutions and others, they provide all of the equipment, they provide all of the IT, all of the tracking and whatnot. And when those fines are collected, they share a portion of those fines with the school district. That's how they've been doing it in the places where they have partnered. They have seen a drop in some of the traffic incidents. But it's not the school district that pays, it's the company, whichever one someone may want to choose. So all of the intelligence and all belongs to them. They, of course, share the data in case something does happen. They share that with the school district. But then they also share a portion of those proceeds from those tickets, or fines collected. I'm sorry, I should say fines collected with the school district. So I just wanted to share that part with you.
Thank you very much. I'm always concerned about school board funding not going to education. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Oh, yes, Vice Chair Eggers.
Just one closing comment, and it really is for Clint. Clint, I've known Clint for a long time, working at the school board, and I understand that he's retiring this year at some point down the road. And I just really wanted to thank you for the consummate professionalism that you bring to the job. He is a supreme collaborator. I mean, we've got the 24 cities, the school system, and everything else. There's so many interactions that go on, and you're always there to try to make it happen, whatever that is. And a proactive attitude, and I'm going to miss you being on that in that position. I always felt like, well, I can call Clint anytime, cut through a lot of the stuff to get answers to issues and problems that our residents are facing. And so I don't know that I'll have another public opportunity to thank you and to wish you the very best in your retirement. I know it's a few months away, but yeah, Godspeed, my friend.
Well, thank you for that presentation. It was very informative. Thank you for your service. And thanks to the Citizens Advisory Committee for recommending the presentation on this today. We'll move on to item 7G, which is the revised Drew Street Safety Improvement Plan. This will be presented by Kevin Lee from the Florida Department of Transportation. And before we get started, I just want to remind everyone that this is an update. This is not an action item for today. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Lee with, this is the one? Oh, I got
There you go.
confused. Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Lee with the Department of Transportation. I'm the project manager overseeing this job. Let me introduce Jason Yam. He's the engineer of record. He'll be designing this job. So we'll be kind of doing a combination of presentation together. So this is purely more an update of the projects, what we have done so far. And just want to give you a heads up. Same thing with department being proactive, instead of being reactive. Our leadership has been kind of going into lobbying this project, what we are planning to do for the last, I would say 6-7 months. I think there's like an echo in this building whenever Drew Street comes in. So there's been a lot of presentations. You've seen our leadership come in for this meetings, on other meetings to kind of present. So this is pretty much the updates of what we are so far and what we are planning to move forward. So no further ado, hopefully do it right. There you go. The intent of the project is obviously, the first goal is the safety enhancement. We really want to robust the safety of the job of the Drew Street. It's a 4.7 miles. It covers 3 entities, from local to state to all the way to the county. So basically, City of Clearwater, state agency in the middle side of it, and at the end is Pinellas County. So these are the 3 agencies that kind of coming into this 4.7 mile corridor. So we're going to talk about more like a segment by segment where we are doing an enhancement and give you a little bit more in details. At the same time, as far as the schedule, Department of Transportation, we really didn't change the letting physical years. We did move out a few months out due to some of these concept and due diligence that we had to do to make sure everybody's concurred with the design itself. So once again, the fiscal years of letting has not changed. It's just that we move out a few months to make sure we do our design, that we are doing our due diligence, and make sure we put that design into a more in the factual stuff that you guys can review and concur. So no further ado, I'm going to turn to EOR, who has a little bit more better knowledge than I do. So,
yeah. Well, just wanted to run over through some of these summary of safety improvements that we're going to be doing along the corridor. So I'm not going to go through all these bullets because we're going to touch on them when we're doing our walkthrough, but we're looking at crash reduction improvements such as adding left turn lanes in certain areas where we have the available room, looking at doing some drainage improvements to improve resiliency and things like that. Safety for the pedestrians is very high on our list. We're going to be doing some enhancements to the crosswalks, to ramps, making sure all our sidewalks are up to date and meeting ADA requirements. We're also looking at doing some controlled mid-block crossings along the corridor. Right now, we have about 3 locations within our budget, and we'll be working with everybody, all the stakeholders, to determine what's the best locations. And then in terms of bicycle safety improvement, we're looking at a separated bike facility, protected bike facility, especially on the west side where the Pinellas Trail enters Drew Street. So now this is the project area. Our project goes from Osceola Avenue all the way to US 19. And currently we have 2 typical sections primarily on the corridor. We have a 4-lane undivided section from Osceola to about Keene. And then from Keene to US 19, we have a 4-lane divided section. Typically, it's either a 2-way left turn lane or a raised median. Now, in the future, that's the green lines at the bottom. You can see we've introduced a couple different types of typical sections, and I won't walk through each one of these one by one. So for the first segment, it is Osceola Avenue to Myrtle. This is what the typical currently looks like. It's a 4-lane undivided section, and we're proposing a 2-lane divided section with a protected bike facility opportunity. And we're calling that opportunity because we still need to make sure everybody's on board with this typical section. We want to make sure we get input and make sure that this is what everybody would like to see. This is what we're proposing right now. That's what we have on paper for concept. But just from an overview, you can see that we are doing the two lanes, 1 lane in each direction. You can see on the north side, that's where we're going to be putting the protected bike lane. The reason why we felt like this area, this segment especially, was important is because this is where the Pinellas Trail does enter. It's near the railroad tracks. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen. And it travels about 300 feet along Drew Street. So, and then you can see it exit to the north. We also have Imagine Clearwater on the west side of this intersection, of this roadway. So we do anticipate a lot of bicycles along this corridor. So that's why we felt like the protected bicycle facility really would make an impact here. Other things we're going to be doing, and you're going to notice this along the entire project corridor, is that at the signalized intersections, we're doing a lot of improvements, such as installing retroreflective backplates to improve visibility of the signals. We're also doing something called the leading pedestrian interval. If you're not familiar with that, it prioritizes pedestrians when they push their walk button so that they get the walk and everybody still has red, so they're more visible in the intersections. And then lighting is going to be evaluated at every signalized intersection to make sure that they're addressed during the dark times of the day. At this location, we're also going to be looking at improving the Pinellas Trail crossing. Right now, it's just a stripe crossing. There's no control at that location, so our traffic engineers are developing different ideas and scenarios to improve that crossing as well. Now, segment 2, this is from Myrtle Avenue to Missouri. It's an existing 4-lane undivided. It's going to remain a 4-lane undivided section with this project, but we are going to still introduce safety improvements along the corridor. Talked about all the signal improvements that we're doing at all the intersections, signalized intersections. This will be the same. Now, also, one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that anywhere where we have span wire signals, we're going to be converting those to hard mast arms for wind protection during those storm events. Other things that we're doing at this corridor along this segment is that right about where Myrtle Avenue is, we're able to introduce a left turn lane from Drew Street to Myrtle because of that transition down to a 2-lane roadway to the west. So that'll help reduce crashes significantly at this location. And at every side street, we're going to make sure that we're going to emphasize those crosswalks for the pedestrians, so they're much more visible. So and at the tail end, and at the tail end, you can see that this is the beginning of our drainage improvements. We're going to be looking at some of the flooding issues that are occurring out there along the corridor and help with that situation. Segment 3 is from Missouri to Betty. Now, in this area, you can see we're doing a little bit more. We're having, existing is a 4-lane undivided segment, and we're able to implement a 4-lane divided segment with a 2-way left turn lane or a left turn lane in the middle. The reason we're able to do that is because there's a little bit more right-of-way in this area. You can see on the typical section that left-hand side of the road has a lot more green space, so we're able to expand the roadway without impacting right-of-way. So this is what that's going to look like. You can see that we're at the intersection of Cleveland and Missouri, where it intersects Drew Street. We are doing something different here. We're going to reconfigure this intersection to create two intersections versus one. Right now, Cleveland comes in diagonal and really creates confusion and creates traffic issues at that location. So we're going to separate both those intersections and create 2. And then we're also going to be developing a left turn lane from Drew Street to turn onto Missouri, and that's going to help reduce crashes significantly. You can also see after Missouri, we're going to convert that left turn lane into a 2-way left turn lane, and that's going to really help access to all the residents along this section of the roadway. And then moving on to Betty, that 2-way left turn lane continues over to Betty and then converts into a left turn lane there as well. And that's going to really significantly reduce crashes. Again, we're doing all of the other improvements, signalized intersections with the back plates, crosswalks, and the ramp improvements.
Question, Madam Chair?
Bless you.
In that area, I'm seeing on the no build, which I guess is where we are currently, right?
Yes.
There's 40 feet of road there. And we've always heard that there's just not much right-of-way in that area. How are we getting wider on the sidewalk side, and how are we getting an extra lane in there?
Oh, so you're right. Typically, we don't have much right-of-way along this corridor. You can drive along here. The right-of-way is right on the back of sidewalk for most of the project. Now, with the exception between Missouri and Betty Lane, we have a very wide strip of utility grass between the sidewalk and the edge of pavement. So in that area, this is just like a special area. This is why we chose this area, because we had the available right-of-way to do it, and we had a little bit of funding to be able to do that widening. So it's very specific to this location. It's not typical everywhere.
So are you saying from Betty Lane down the hill and then back up the hill, we'll have 5 lanes?
No, this is going to be from Missouri Avenue to Betty Lane. So let me show you where that is. So you can kind of see where we reside. So it is just going to be west of the off course.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking the next intersection up, not Betty Lane, but what's the next intersection up?
So
to the east.
To the east is going to be
east. Highland.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
You said Betty Lane. Apologize.
Any other questions on segment 3 while we're here?
Thank you. You may have already done this, but have there been any conversations with the Greenwood CRA, because they do come up to this area as a part of their planning area for the CRA project that they have? I support this, and I think they would too, because it would make it easier for transportation to come on down into the area that they're trying to bring up as a somewhat of a downtown or city. But if you haven't, I don't know if that would be within your time frame, but maybe to reach out to Marilyn Thurman and Gloria Campbell, who kind of spearhead that CRA down there, just to inform them, and that way when they're trying to recruit business or work out whatever for that CRA, this could be a part that may attract, because these roadway improvements are coming.
Very good. Appreciate that. Yep.
Commissioner Flowers, we have had conversations with North Greenwood Cemetery. We'll work with FDOT to make sure that happens.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There you go. All right.
Anything else?
Yes.
The segment that Betty Lane goes north off Drew Street, will there be a left turn lane there?
Yes. Let me see. Oh. So you can see here, there's a left turn lane. Just going up. Basically, the two-way left turn lane converts to a left turn lane for Betty Lane. No problem. Okay. All right. Moving to section 4. Segment 4 is from Betty Lane to Keene. This section is going to remain unchanged. It's 4-lane undivided. It's going to remain 4-lane undivided. But we are still implementing some of the safety improvements that we already talked about, especially at the signals. This section in particular has a section of sidewalk that does not meet ADA requirements. So at this location, we're able to adjust the edge of pavement a little bit and make additional room to make sure that that sidewalk meets the requirements.
Yes, Vice Chair Eggers.
Segment 5? Oh, yes.
Sorry, Vice Chair Eggers.
It's this section that I've heard from a number of people that have caused the concerns over the years, and this is where we're restricted on the width.
That's
not only do you have people turning left, stopping all traffic in one direction, so people have to then swerve into the outer lane. I see it all the time, and
Yeah.
people who drive that know it. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Many poles are in the middle of the sidewalk. I mean, so there's going to be challenges there as well. So this is an area that, again, since this process takes so many years and it involves so many different folks along the way, and it's way out there, a lot of people don't get involved as much in the early goings, and then they start to getting involved as it gets closer. And then, elections have consequences as well. So you have new people that come in and have new perspectives. And so, but this area right here, untouched and not doing anything, I'm just on the record, it's going to be a problem. It is a problem, and it will continue to be a problem. The only thing that I can think that makes sense here is slowing that traffic down and enforcing speed limits because, and again, with those 10-foot wide lanes and the sidewalks almost right on the street, it's a problem. And it's been a problem, and the professionals have told us it's a problem. And so I think slowing traffic is probably the only solution. Is there any thought to that in that area?
So we do looked at some of these mitigation measures. One example you mentioned about the utility pole being smack in the middle of the sidewalk. You're right. I have a picture of that too, to be honest with you. So we are talking to the utility companies, obviously relocate that accordingly. I mean, that's just not right altogether. Number 2, also, we are looking at the speed management in the corridor-wise. So that will help and enhance that. If there is the rear-end crash where people has to stop suddenly trying to make a left, that will help to kind of mitigate that effort as well. And then we will obviously look at other safety improvement. As I mentioned before, this is more pure, we just went through the more essence of trying to get this thing approved as a whole project as a whole with City Council, I believe on November 18. And this is more in essence of what everybody kind of concur as how we can move forward. I think what we are doing is more intermediate measurement to get to the point where we can get everything as a whole. But once again, we are looking at the speed management. We are looking at some of these the conflict to be removed, obviously, and then look at more like a robust safety enhancement as a whole, especially in this segment and other segment as well.
Do you have proposed speed limits designations along that entire corridor? So it changes along the way, or do we have that your recommendations yet, or is that still?
That's the same thing we have a mid-block crossing area that we are evaluating that we'll be submitting to the department for review. Same thing with the speed management. Once again, we are at, I would say, about 30% of the design. When the robust design itself, it comes to more together in 60%. We were like almost there, maybe a few months away, but we altered the design. So we'll definitely look into that as well. And then maybe we can show that, indicate that speed, where that designate speeds will be, and then will be dictated that way.
So I appreciate your candor and not wanting necessarily to get to specifics yet. City of Clearwater's not in the room. You can speak up anyway. I'm kidding. Just kidding.
For the record, I just want to say, I do want to thank the City of Clearwater. I mean, they did give us the additional funding for the job itself.
Don't call on this.
My arm was actually falling asleep. It's been up in the air so long.
So before we pivot, so Justin, all FDOT, one commitment we did make to the city when we presented them is that this is not us saying, hey, this is all we're doing and we're leaving. This is the project that we have now. And for the speed management in the area that he's referring to, we talked about a multi-pronged approach. So if we do lower the speed limit, and even if we don't, going out there and doing enhanced law enforcement, multiple times throughout, we do anticipate the speed limit to reduce. And I think Kevin's just trying to be cautious about whether we say, what number we say. And part of that is because we're using the mid-block crossings as a way to change the overall feel of the road so that then we can justify a lower speed limit. Because with statute, we have to make sure that we're either changing aesthetic or component of the road to then justify that reduced speed limit. So, and when we talk to the city, we reference that, hey, this is the area where we're going to be looking at multiple mid-block crossings so that we then can justify the lower speed limit and justify the enforcement.
And have those recommendations been made yet, where those mid-block? Okay, that's
no, sir, and that's what he's referring to. Okay. So the 60% plan submittal will have recommended locations, and in fact, the city had recommended a few locations based on a location of a park, a logical crossing point for a park, and some other areas. So if you have any feedback on that, we'll
when I hit a slice off of that one hole, it goes, I need to get across the road. There's a
So we need a sign that says like warning, golf balls in flight.
Yeah. Thank you, appreciate
Dave
it.
Eggers is playing.
I'll be glad to keep the board updated on as those mid-block crossings get established.
Okay, Councilmember Menino.
Yes, thank you. My arm was getting tired. I was trying to cut you off, but out of all due respect, for the record, FDOT and WIT, thank you so much for more than just your patience through this project. But it truly became a project of collaboration in your flexibility and adaptability to make changes quickly. It was greatly appreciated. Surprising in the time frame you did. I think I was on the dais and said, we have 10 days. I do not see this being realistic, and I ate my words, so thank you for that. But it was greatly appreciated. Overall, love segment 1. Our portion of that Pinellas Trail through Clearwater is probably one of the least desirable locations for that 75-mile continuous loop. So to kind of tie up those loose ends is appreciated. To usher a bike lane to our $84 million gem of Coachman Park and get families down there safely without feeling the need to drive is vitally important. Segment 2, making the changes through Segment 3 on safety, completely in favor of them as a city and greatly appreciate your adaptability with it. And Commissioner Eggers, you are 100% correct. As a city, our biggest concern as well is that Segment 4 plot you're talking about. Unfortunately, that is our biggest challenge with how we're restricted on the footprint there. There are sidewalks that honestly you couldn't drag a laptop down it without hitting grass on one side. That is how narrow they are, and there is not available right-of-way to be purchased and make it bigger, so it is a challenge. I know we as a team have committed ourselves to find ways There's 3 different speed limits in less than 300 yards of that road. That's city, that's county, that's state. Finding ways, we all recognize it, to identify consistency in speed is vitally important. Finding ways to mitigate speed, whether it's blinking lights, flashing, painting in the road, we have faith and confidence that you'll find those measures. And then the mid-block crossings are obviously important. Crest Lake Park sits right there to the south. We have a lot of families from those neighborhoods that try to get across that Drew Street, and they cross at completely random areas, and it is dangerous and unsafe. We feel that we're in good hands. We look forward to continuing to move forward and work with both organizations collaboratively in finding some of those measures. Safety is paramount, and we're with you on that. So thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and move on.
Okay, all right. Yep, there's more. Sorry. Here we go. So segment 5 is from Keene to US 19. This segment is a 4-lane divided section. It's got the 2-way left turn in the middle or a raised median. We're going to keep that typical section primarily, but we are introducing median islands throughout that 2-way left turn to kind of break up that 2-way left turn lane. A lot of people use that 2-way left turn as an extended left turn or even a through lane to get around traffic sometimes. So those are going to help significantly. One thing I do want to point out, though, the county did beat us to the punch to mill and resurface this segment of the road, so you'll see that a portion of this is already milled and resurfaced. But we are going to go ahead and continue with our improvements along this section. Similar things that we already talked about at the signalized intersections. But this is an example of what that median island would look like in that 2-way left turn lane, and I think you've seen some of that throughout the county. So, other than that, this is just a little bit of our mid-block crossing that we already talked about. So locations are still to be determined. I did talk with the county the other day. They are meeting with the city on a regular basis. So that's this is one of the topics that they're bringing up to figure out if there's any locations that they're more interested in. So other than that, I think that's it. Thank you.
I'll just, if I can, put in a plug for a mid-block crossing near the Social Security building. There at that location, there's a lot of transit riders who are getting off the transit route that serves that area and trying to cross 5 lanes of road by the Social Security Administration building. As a bicycle commuter, that's my bicycle route, and I cut through at Anna Drive, which gives you a nice back access into the Pinellas Trail off of Drew Street, which is not very comfortable to ride on. So somewhere in that section, breaking that area up with a mid-block crossing would be very helpful in addition to the one you've identified at Lake Street.
Thank you.
Just my suggestions.
So Wade, I think that was one of the recommendations too when we met City Council in November 18. So once again, I do want to thank City Council and the City of Clearwater for giving us opportunity with additional funding altogether. I know we were short on funds, but that really did help us to get to this point. So I think it is, like you just said, echo that, is collaboration between 3 agencies and beyond to make it work. So I do want to thank you and thank everyone for giving us opportunity for giving you guys updates.
And thank you for the update. Mayor Franey, you had a question?
I did. It looks like the bicycle path, and I'll just say, I spent little or no attention on the old version, so if I say anything crazy, I apologize. So it looks like the bike paths down the whole stretch are intermittent. You have them, then you don't, or are they?
Correct. For the first section from Osceola to Myrtle, we're introducing a protected bike lanes along there, and then the bike lanes aren't on the project until about maybe Keene or Saturn.
So basically, you're on a bike path, then you're off a bike path, then you're on a bike path. And is there, when you're going from like US Highway 19 down to downtown Clearwater, like, is there any east to west bike path that goes all the way down?
There's an alternative bike route along Cleveland.
And it's a protected bike path all the way down?
So I can
I'm just
explain
saying
that.
it's
That's my route.
Yeah, because it's
So
unfortunate not to have a bike path when we're looking at a lot of multimodal transportation safety issues.
He's right, the bike lane's in just around Keene Street, just west of Keene Road, I'm sorry. If you hop down on Belcher, you can get to Cleveland, because Cleveland dead ends at Belcher. And then it's a traffic calmed street. There is no bike lane on Cleveland. There is a painted fog line that makes it look like there's a bike lane, but it's not marked and it's not wide enough to be a bike lane. But traffic is pretty slow, and there's a series of roundabouts. So it's a pretty comfortable ride. And then when you get into downtown Clearwater, There is a dedicated bike side path when you get past, I forget, is it Highland? I think when you get past Highland is where you pick up that path. So it's still a little patchworky, and there's some things to be done for Cleveland to make it better, but it's a lot better than Drew. I think the big challenge that I faced is that you have to get in the left turn lane on Drew to turn left onto Belcher, and then there's nothing on Belcher until you get to Cleveland. So that little short stretch, it'd be nice to even have a painted shared lane marking there.
Right.
That's a county road, so we'll keep having those conversations with the county to see if they'll entertain that.
Anyway.
Hint, hint.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Along-
Vice Mayor Shelley.
Along those lines, the Druid bike path goes quite a ways, but then there's a few missing blocks between the Pinellas Trail and getting to the Druid pathway. Is that in the plan to be finished?
Actually, I think Druid is pretty connected to the Pinellas Trail, but it's a wide sidewalk is that treatment. But it's marked as a trail, and the crossings of the side streets are pretty well marked. So I've been fairly comfortable riding on Druid. I think the challenge with Druid is it also dead ends at US 19. And so we have talked with the Department of Transportation about looking at connectivity of the Druid Trail to the Courtney Campbell Causeway Trail as they do the State Road 60 corridor study. So that'll come up in remarks a little bit later, but thank you for bringing that up because there is a tandem of trails. And I think it was suggested a few years ago by the former Clearwater mayor, we can just send everybody down to Druid, but that's a big out of direction travel for a bicyclist. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes longer to go down to Druid, and you would never ask that of a car driver to go 20, 25 minutes out of direction just to get to a safe place to ride. So I think this is a huge improvement over what's out there today, and I applaud the department and the city of Clearwater for being collaborative and trying to figure out a workable solution. But like a lot of places in the county, you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, and we have to kind of get as good as we can with the room we have. But I appreciate the comments.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? All right, well, thank you for this update. I hope that you'll return when you've got more to share with us down the road as this moves forward.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Let's see, no action on that item. Next, item 7H, the letter of comments to FTOT and the draft tentative work program.
Right, I'll just briefly introduce this one. The letter of comments is in your agenda packet. We are asking for the board's approval of this letter to send to the department. This is essentially a very complimentary letter. We appreciate the department working through some challenging times. The cost of inflation has made it very difficult to maintain the work program and made it a bit of a challenge to add new projects to the work program, but they've done a good job of following our priorities. I think the governor's Moving Florida Forward initiative also took a lot of money that might otherwise have gone into the work program and focused it on reducing congestion on our interstate system. And we're the beneficiary of one of those projects on I-275. So, all those things together, it's probably not as robust of a draft tentative work program as we've seen in some recent years, but they've done a good job in following our priorities. The letter does identify a couple of additional projects that we would like to see addressed in the near future, hopefully next year or the year after. And that includes the Gandy Boulevard corridor and the completion of the I-275 managed lanes down to I-375. All
right, thank you.
So that's an action item. We'll need approval.
Yes. First, we'll go to Councilmember Floyd.
Thank you. I wanted to ask, forgive me, I'm having technical difficulties, so I don't have the letter pulled up. We're benefiting from the 275 improvements in our area, and it seems to me like something that I thought went along with that is like kind of separated from it. It was the lane continuity improvements. I was under the impression at first that like all of that was one package thing, but if I'm not mistaken, it looks like there's some differences there, and I just wondered if you could speak to that.
Right, the lane continuity component of that, you can't stay in one lane as you travel down
Yeah, I
south.
know.
You've got to
Yeah,
do a
it's
lot of
tricky.
merging and weaving.
Yeah.
That is a separate project, but that is being designed, and they're, I think, pretty much moving along with design. I don't think they're complete with design yet. But we anticipate that getting funded because there's already design money on that, and once it's in design, when they're finished with that, we can, I think, expect that we'll see construction funding not too long. It's on the interstate system, it's part of the strategic intermodal system, and that does get 75% of the state transportation trust fund dollars historically. So
Okay, so you feel pretty good about it, is what I'm hearing.
they're telling me I should feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't. What was
They're
that?
telling me I should feel pretty good about it.
Okay,
so
all right,
we'll keep
all
it on the
right.
priority list and keep active.
Yeah, I bring it up. Yeah, you know, as soon as we can get to it, the sooner we can get to it, the better. I bring it up because, like, when it comes to 275 through St. Petersburg, like, that's the thing that comes up most in conversation with constituents is, and myself personally, I'd hate, you know, like having to change lanes. It feels unsafe. I'd prefer to just be able to go. Okay, all right. Well, I just wanted to get an update on that and let you know that I was looking at it. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Seeing that there are no more questions or requests for discussion, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the letter. All right, we have a motion and a second. Tina, did we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
All right, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next will be our director, our very efficient director's report.
Always. To that end, I wrote a lot in the agenda on the spotlight emphasis area update, so I won't cover all those things again. Just to point out that we are continuing to meet with the business community in the US 19 North Corridor to develop input for a future corridor study that we'll be doing in partnership with the Florida Department of Transportation. In the next month or so, you will be seeing a waterborne transportation market demand study that we initiated last year. And I know the St. Pete Chamber has been very focused on that particular work product. And then finally, I mentioned it earlier, the Department of Transportation is initiating some significant work in the State Road 60 corridor. We have a project development and environmental study about to begin on the bridge portion of the Courtney Campbell Causeway from essentially the Veterans Expressway over to McMullen Booth Road. They are looking at safety and capacity in that corridor. We've offered some suggestions for future transit service in that corridor because that's something I hear from the city of Clearwater and the beach community and the Clearwater Chamber to have a direct connection of some sort of transit service to the airport. Hope to incorporate that in conjunction with PSTA as well. And then finally, the larger project, it may not be more expensive, but the more extensive project is the corridor study of from essentially the roundabout on Clearwater Beach all the way to Rocky Point. And that will be looking at multimodal and short-term and long-term strategies for the Gulf to Bay corridor. There is a particular focus there on the intersection at Belcher Road and State Road 60, which is a notorious intersection for both congestion and safety. And that project is being handed over from the county to the state. But the city, the county, and the state, and Ford Pinellas and PSTA will all be collaborative partners in that effort. And I think that's all I'll cover for now on that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on those items? Okay, and did you have any other informational items?
We'll include the board in the kickoff for those studies as well.
Okay.
The next item is the Federal Highway Administration quadrennial, that's hard for me to say, certification update. And you've all been invited to participate in the culmination of that certification review, which is a meeting on January 30th in our offices across the street. We have given a couple of options for you to join if you would like to at the beginning of that meeting around 8:15 in the morning and then also around noontime. But if any of you show up at any time during the day, we will stop, introduce you, allow you to say a few words to the federal team that's doing our certification, There is also an open public comment period that any member of the public can go to that survey link that's in your packet, in the agenda packet, and tell us how we're doing. The federal team wants to hear from you, wants to hear from the public, and they've been looking at all of our documents and materials already. And they will be back in front of this board, likely in July or August. I'm not sure if I can pick a time to present their findings, and hopefully we're full of noteworthy practices and no corrective actions, but we'll see. This happens every 4 years, so that's what quadrennial means.
Thank you.
And then the legislative update. This is an action item, item 8C. The legislative session begins in March, and every year we do develop a legislative platform. Glad to see Councilmember Gabbard back on our board because she chaired our prior legislative committee. After you did such a great job, we did away with the committee. You know, we just couldn't repeat your success.
There was just no point in continuing without you.
So what we've said is we will use this board as a forum to bring issues of note to the legislature. I'll remind everybody that last year there was a terrible MPO bill that was in the legislature that we objected to, sent a letter of comments on. I've spoken with our two senators, or two of our senators, and encouraged them to keep me in mind if anything like that resurfaces again. I am hopeful it won't, but you never know in Tallahassee. So what's before you are some pretty straightforward policy priorities that are not very different than last year's, although I think we've elevated this provide state assistance with disaster recovery and resilience, which wasn't on our list, I don't think, last year. So with the board's support, we will use this in our discussions with the legislative delegation and others.
All right, thank you. Questions about that? All right.
And we'll need a vote to authorize that.
Oh, right. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Tina, did you get that? Oh, okay. Shelley Menino. All right, thanks. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all I have. If you want to cover upcoming events, or just reference those in the calendar, and that's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a few, and those are in, let's see.
Yeah, if you just look at item 10 on your agenda, there are the upcoming events. And I look forward to having somebody join me at the MPO Advisory Council meeting in Orlando on the 23rd.
Right, okay.
We'll carpool if you want. No, I'm going to the Magic game that night, so we can't carpool.
No carpool. What, you don't have a ticket for whoever goes with you?
I have 2
tickets. All right, well, thank you. Does anyone else have any business for the board at this time? All right, in that case, thank you very much, and we are adjourned.